We don't need the mic and shit.
It's true. Hello, guys. Here we are. Here we fucking are.
Where?
Well, here's the thing. We have a lot of jobs. I don't want to come on here.
We do a lot of jobs.
I've done a lot
sadly.
of jobs. I did a job yesterday. They keep telling me, well, it's okay if you lose because you're so over, right? And I keep thinking, what do you mean I'm so over? Who says that?
The people that want you to do the fucking jobs, pal.
So they like stroke my ego. You can lose all you can because you're so over.
You're so over.
Well, they weren't cheering my name yesterday. They were cheering Switchblade. So I took the L for what fucking reason? We got a bunch of jobs, right? We have like I said outside, it's fun to be an entrepreneur until you have all these jobs you have to do.
Right.
The podcast is a very hard one.
Well, we did
But
good.
we're excited.
Today. We saw the Wildcat. We said, let's go shut ourselves in this fucking room and knock this thing out. He agreed. I blew his entrance because I just said his name. Here we fucking are.
Well, I think this makes me happy because we don't usually come on here and talk wrestling a lot of times because we always just
Talk shit.
get drunk and we wonder why our listeners went down because we don't ever talk about wrestling.
Don't talk about too much inside shit.
We got somebody
Analytics.
here, a friend of mine here who started with a school that I started at. We started around this in the same school in the same area. I'm stumbling over my words. Here's the thing: it's the Wildcat, Chris Harris. Thanks for coming in.
Good brothers, thank you for having me.
Of Impact legendary TNA fame, a TNA original. So how does it? Well, here we are. We're in Cincinnati, right? We're actually in Newport, Kentucky.
Sure, right across the river.
You're a Kentuckian.
I'm a Kentuckian,
Where do you live now?
Northern Kentucky.
Northern
I live
Kentucky.
in Ludlow.
Always have, right?
Yeah,
That same
always.
area-ish?
Yeah, I spent 5 years in Orlando, but you always come home.
How does it feel to walk? Have you been to an Impact show in a while or a TNA show in a while? What do you think of it as? Do you call it TNA or do you call it Impact?
I've learned to call it Impact, but
Yeah.
TNA is still in my heart. So
It's like
yeah.
your home.
I still wish we'd bring 6-sided ring back. So
Yeah, it was different, man. Let's. I gotta play interviewer here, like I did in that Rhino one, because I like to talk about this stuff. Because you guys,
I was doing a pretty good job. I don't know why you got to step on my shit.
well, because you're not asking good fucking questions. You need a little help.
I didn't even get started.
Leave it to the viewers, anyway.
Anyways, here's my question.
Anyway, here's my question.
Anyways, let me talk.
Yeah, shut the fuck up is what I meant to say.
I had a good question. Let me finish this question.
Fuck your
first, you son
stupid
of a
question.
bitch. Here we go. Here's the thing. How does it feel to walk into an Impact show when you haven't been in so long? What does it feel like? Does it start bringing back weird memories? You see Gail Kim here. You see Scott D'Amore here. It's got to bring back some memories.
yeah, I mean, since I've done it several times now, I think I was nervous the first time. I think the first time I'd been back in a while was the homecoming show in Nashville.
Yes.
I don't think you guys were around yet.
That was Pandemic Brothers. We came into the pandemic.
That's right. That's
We
right.
came at the rise of the pandemic.
We came into the pandemic and popped the
So we
territory.
can't blame you for chasing the fans away.
No.
They were already gone.
They were already
gone.
We just came in and got a huge buy rate when we were on our debut, Chris. Since we're talking about that, let's go. I think that was solely because of us.
No, but coming back that night, I was a little nervous, but it was good to see everybody. Everybody was welcoming, and ever since then, yeah, it's great to see some old faces and some people that are still around. I mean, Saban's here, Shelley, Gail Kim's here, Scott D'Amore. I mean, it's great, and then to see guys that I've known for so long, not even just an Impact like yourselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I feel very at home here. Everybody is very welcoming.
It just never hurts to see Gail Kim.
No, it never hurts, not at all. But I'd like to see more of you. I'm glad that you're here. But what I wanted to ask, this great question that I was going to lead with,
Let's hear now.
our videographer texts over there and looks up porn on his phone.
Now
so
get
that's
to your.
fine, too.
Go ahead and get your
So
skills.
last night, we do the Under Siege pay-per-view. We run out of here. We can't find our car. Or we would have actually made it earlier.
Yeah.
And we drive not 10 minutes away,
Yeah.
and there is an NWF Roger Ruffin show. And you two guys
Yes.
are Roger's star pupils. You guys in Abyss, correct? So
Yes.
how long do you guys know each other? How do you meet? He's already a star when you meet him?
He's
Tell
a
me the
star.
story.
Well, the first time we met, you threw a good interview question at me.
Fucking
Excuse
thank
me,
you.
You broadcast journalist.
Exactly.
The first time I think I met Wildcat might have been quickly at Bone Crushers somewhere, but I remember my first meeting as I wrestled him in Fairfield at Torrey Station.
Okay.
And he beat the living shit out of me.
Are you nervous? Is
As
he the
I should've.
first?
Yes.
Is he the first name you've ever been in the ring with? First television guy?
Certainly.
Yes.
Certainly. Like, he dropped a leg drop on me from the top rope. And
Were you scared to death? He's a big man.
It was pretty heavy.
It came back on me, man. I'm suffering for all those leg drops.
It was a beautiful leg drop
that's
too.
a spine compression there.
Yeah.
But yes, like you said, but that's a good point though. Like you said, as I should have. He did beat the shit out of me, but not, and he wasn't punching me in the nose.
He was doing it in a working way and teaching the young kid the ways.
He was hitting me.
Well, hard to save places.
not right square in the forehead.
It was all done out of love.
It was.
I
done
saw
out
the
of
talent.
That's right. You were just going to beat it out.
And he taught me a lesson that day. But that was when I think TNA was on the Wednesday nights.
Okay.
And I think you were obviously one of their big stars at that point. And that's how I met the Wildcat. But Wildcat had been in the Cincinnati area years before that.
What year did you start with Roger?
Started with Roger in '95. Started wrestling in '94, and then immediately went to Roger in '95. And I was there up until about '99, and that's when I took off for Nashville. Nashville got me the connection to WCW. So
Gotcha.
When did you start with Roger?
2002.
So I think we had passed a couple shows, like the Tory Station kind of thing. But as Abyss and I started to move out, it was your group that kind of took over over the, I guess, star power at the shows. Because I was gone, he was gone, Rob was gone.
Yeah.
Did you and Abby start together then, or does one come before the other?
I started with
Prince
Roger.
Justice.
Yes, Prince Justice. Excuse me, I didn't know that. Purple single.
I started probably a year before him.
Okay.
But yeah, we came up in the business together, came up with Roger. We were on the road together, road partners. I mean,
they used to draw these big houses at this place called Peel's Palace in northern Kentucky. You guys were like superstars.
That was
correct?
an amazing place for us. It was huge,
Like, explain that. Explain what it was. It's a bar that drew a lot of people. I used to watch these videos of them in their heyday of the NWF, and they're superstars. This place has got 1,000 people in there, or whatever it was. It looks like millions to me.
Yeah, I mean, it was where we started. A lot of people don't know this, but Smoky Mountain used to run there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then they had I think they pulled out, and they pulled out like at the last minute where a show had been advertised. And Rogers Group stepped in to fill it in, and they got they got the monthly gig there. And Justice and Abyss and I stepped in, and we did our thing. And the truth is, and I think this is a lot of stories with the wrestling world where a lot of people started, the place was not a great place.
Sure.
It was, I mean, we've all been there.
We've seen them,
I mean, the dressing rooms were not great, but the thing is...
Find a bucket to sit on and put your shit on.
Yeah, man.
Right?
but we treated it like it was our Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
And we went out, and we entertained the fans enough and had great stories to where they just came back in droves. And I'd say you could fill 1,000 people in there.
Yeah.
And we did just some of the angles. It really was. It was the wrestling that pulled the people in there. Yeah. And we drew some huge crowds in there, man. It was awesome.
So get back to
WCW.
Yeah. Well, so you said you trained here with Roger. You wrestled with Roger. You did the Peel's Palace stuff, and you said you left for Nashville. Why?
Was Burt down there?
I went down with Burt. It's just, doing independence, you make connections, and somebody said they were doing TV down there, and they wanted to bring Rob and I down.
Yes, Rob the Bomb Williams.
Rob the Bomb Williams.
God, took really good care of me.
I met him at a gym, didn't I?
Yes.
We met him, yeah.
So, honestly, a lot of what it was my, I was married at the time, different wife.
Yes.
You're a wrestler.
But we're looking to see, like, any event we go to, it's like, well, who's going to spot us? Who's going to be looking for us? And she made a comment that was very true. She's like, nobody's going to find you in Peel's Palace.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, you know what? You're absolutely right. And so and back then, Roger as well as I do, but back then it was not easy to leave. Nowadays he's encouraging people to leave.
It wasn't easy for me to leave.
But he there was a lot of heat right there.
There's home turf with a lot of these guys that train you and build their homegrown guys.
So I went down there, started going down to Nashville. I still lived in this area, but I went to Nashville every week, and there was a connection to do some security for WCW and with Terry Taylor. Burt Prentice had a connection with Terry Taylor.
Is this red shirt security, WCW?
It was R&B security. It was Russo and Bischoff security.
Gotcha.
So although we call it run and bump security.
and they just brought you in for that?
Yeah, well, they were bringing us in for security, but they still had the Saturday night program, and then they had Worldwides on Sunday. And so a lot of us were getting wrestling matches on those too. So I was wrestling a lot as well as doing
per match.
I think paid per day probably.
Per day, yeah. How much was that?
It was probably 500.
500,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
When you're a young guy coming, like you're like a $500 payday. Hell yeah.
Well, that's
I'm gonna
like-
be on TV.
And we would do
That's
2-3
the big
days
time.
a week. So I mean, that was
Yeah, you
decent.
make
I mean,
money, yeah.
and I never had a regular job after that.
Yeah.
I mean, that was when I left my job, and I was doing WC. And I didn't actually sign a contract till October.
So
So
you
the
had-
entire year of 2000, I was doing per appearance,
Oh,
but
wow.
I was making good money because
Yeah.
they were bringing me in every week.
Then ultimately, you did sign a contract.
Yeah, October I signed a contract, and then 6 months later,
Wow.
They got bought.
who would ever have thought that one of the big two
Yeah.
would go down?
And
You know
then,
what
so
I mean?
what? They didn't. So WWE didn't pick up your developmental or your contract or whatever.
No,
it
the
was?
way it really worked out was all the higher ups had their contracts and they sat out for a while. So the big names
Yeah.
sat out. They hired the mid carders. I
Yeah.
don't even want to say mid to high. You know,
They hired the Lash LaRues of the
well,
world.
they hired the guys that were there working.
I mean,
Yeah.
like if you guys know, Lance got hired. Hugh
Bill
Morris
Lamont,
got.
Mike Trainer,
Yeah,
yeah,
they all got hired, and then but the guys on my level, no, they just
got rid of
had so much to pick from, and so our guys were just
They just
kind of
didn't
left
know
out.
who you guys were or
Yep.
anything yet. Wow.
So you're in Nashville then in 2002 TNA starts. Are you a TNA original? I don't
So
know.
what
Are
do you do?
First night.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah,
do you do? We're sorry, when WCW gets bought, they killed off your contract. Where's your head?
It's frustrating, man, because once you sign a
sign a
contract, you sign your
contract,
big
yeah.
contract, man.
I
That's
made
what
it,
you
yeah.
want.
There
Yeah.
we go.
Hey, Chris, you're talking to a couple guys that know all about signing multi-million-dollar deals and losing it 9 months later.
I'm sorry, I lost my head there for a second.
You
I
trying to
don't
fuck with me too?
Did you come here to make fun of us?
Oh, did you come here to fuck with us? Where was your head then? So were you?
No, it
were
was
you-
disappointing, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
Yeah.
back to doing the indies, and you're back to trying to get started again. And keep in mind, the only place to go then was WWE. There's
That's
nothing
it, yeah.
else. And so there was a couple companies that tried to
crazy,
start up, and nobody knew what the hell they were doing. So nothing worked out. Well, then you hear this other company is going to start up. Oh, well, okay, we'll see where that
You
goes.
hear that
And,
so much, right?
but then I heard Jeff Jarrett was in charge of it. I'd known him from WCW, and you know, it took my attention a little bit more than the others. And they had a big pay-per-view coming up. They came to a Nashville show. They were scouting talent. They were checking out the broadcast team. They were just kind of doing like a little dry run
Yeah.
through. And they saw a match between Storm and I were against each other.
Yeah.
And they saw the match, and I don't know what got their attention, but it was one of our best matches. And I got to the back, and Jeff looked at me, and he said, "We'll be in touch." And I got a call that week from Bob Ryder.
That's a big deal.
That's a
Huge,
huge
man.
deal.
So we got it was per appearance at the start there, but
That
we
was,
were on
that was all the Wednesday papers.
yeah, we were on the
was-
first show, and from then on,
That was exciting as shit. We both started in 2002, and then you
Yeah.
go, well, if you can't go to one, maybe you could go to the other one. Like it felt like there was a WCW come back, and eventually, you know.
and they brought in enough big names to get us going that
Yeah.
I think it got people's attention in the
Yeah,
wrestling
I
world. I
think
mean, it's
that's
like
true.
yeah.
I remember I saw Scott D'Amore in 2004, and he looked me up and down, and he goes, how old are you? And I told him I was 24. Blah, blah, blah. He goes, well, what are you up to? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And I was like, of course, right?
Yeah.
So then every day for the next year, when my phone rang, I was waiting for Scott D'Amore to call me. And he never fucking called me. And it used to drive me
That still
fucking
happens
nuts.
today, don't it?
Yes.
That's professional wrestling to a T,
Yeah.
isn't
Well,
it?
now
boys?
Scott calls, and we're going, oh, hold on. Are we in
Right.
trouble? Is he
Right.
trying to sign us to a new deal?
What's
And-
going on?
Are we fired?
Should
What's
we
the
take
deal
the
here?
call? Should we not?
So when did you know that TNA was going to you knew it was it's the big time, right?
Yeah, man. We just everybody when the company's first starting out, you got so many young guys in there, and we got the names that can at least make it reputable.
Give it some credit.
Yeah, and but then the young guys, man, we were willing to do anything to get this going. So
course, yeah.
we're all doing our part, and if everybody does their little part, man, and for the big the whole production there, just we were there to make it work. And people said we'd be out of business within 6 months, within a year. I mean, nobody gave us any credit.
Look
Just
at it now.
little by little, it was going. And then we, from the Wednesday night pay-per-views, we got Fox Sports Net,
Yeah.
we got that TV.
That had to be a morale
That's a
boost.
big
It was
deal.
huge, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, because we saw it going in the right direction. And then we started moving to Orlando, doing our TV tapings down there. That's a big step. Then we get Spike TV. I mean,
Huge. Now we're really
doing
playing
monthly
ball.
pay-per-views.
Yeah.
I mean, we are one of the big wrestling companies.
Yeah.
So then we start getting guys like Kurt Angle coming over and Christian, and I mean, and we
cool.
already had Sting. Sting was with us.
Before we get to that, though, let's talk about, because you're right at the beginning of this. I think it's so interesting, like the crop of talent that came out of, like, I guess the young TNA originals, America's Most Wanted. Motor City Machine Guns. The list goes on and on when you think about it. Did you guys know right then, like, hey, this group's going to be something special? We're the next set of TV stars that are going to carry this thing? Because that's what, I mean, 20 years later, you're sitting here, and a lot of those guys are sitting here, and we're in the same dressing room. So it's...
Yeah, man.
It's still here.
Yeah.
You guys earned us a hell of a paycheck,
Yes,
Chris.
thank
you.
Honestly,
Spaghetti on me after the show.
Maybe that's why they call it a selfish business, because when we were in, we didn't know what they were going to do. They threw Storm and I together, said, let's just see. We know we want to keep these guys. We just don't know what the hell to do with them. So throw them together, see what happens. We said, okay, if this is our chance, we'll make it work. We're going to be the best damn tag team out there.
So who comes up with America's Most Wanted? Because it was such a cool visual gimmick of you two as these badass...
I have to give Storm the credit for the name.
Okay.
Storm came up with the name.
He'll take it.
He'll take it.
And he says a story of we had a little run-in with the police in Nashville. And I tend to believe this because it's very possible, but...
you don't remember it?
I really don't.
Don't quite remember.
I'm not sure why. Who knows? Yeah.
Guys like us have amnesia sometimes.
Yeah.
Guys, we get hit in the head for a living. Anything.
But apparently one of those officers said, if you guys aren't careful, you're going to be on America's Most Wanted one of these days.
Ding.
And came up with that, and boom, I loved it. We ran with
great.
it, and we just started kind of going with the gimmick. With brought the
cool,
jackets
man.
in.
Great
And
look, yes.
a lot of people were calling us cowboys, and I always had to correct them. I was like, I'm not a goddamn cowboy. We're different. That's what
he wore the
separates
hat,
us. Right. And
I think you're a cow. In your heart, you're a cowboy.
I'm maybe a hick or something from Kentucky. Maybe
No,
maybe a redneck from Kentucky.
No, we mean you got a cowboy spirit.
Okay.
We think cowboys are cool, and I don't mean guys that are. We call ourselves cowboys all the time.
Because
we don't
we
ever wear hats.
do shit we're not supposed to do, basically.
Well,
Rebels,
and plus, since I was a teammate of a cowboy, I learned real quick that you don't play cowboy. You don't wear a hat and not be a real cowboy.
have to be a cowboy.
So I made sure I didn't play that part. So.
Well, is there anything memorable that happened in those in those first years?
What I like to tell. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. It's your story.
What I like to tell everybody is 2002. There wasn't I think what helped America's Most Wanted out a lot was there wasn't a whole lot going on in tag teams. WWE's tag team scene was the shits.
Yeah.
They were not focused on tag teams. You guys could probably back this up.
Oh,
I know
we know.
Vince is not a big tag team guy.
Yeah.
He loved us.
But he loved putting two singles guys together and giving them a 6-month run with the belts and take the belts off, then they fight, and it was just that's all it was.
We lost the titles to Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins. Take that in.
Well, just to set up the revenue match, of course. Yeah. So, fuck, I lost my question.
Well, I just think that
Let's
my
talk
point
about
to
us
that.
losing to Braun and Seth.
No.
My point to that was I think that's really what helped is that they
Yeah.
looked at the tag team division in TNA and was like, damn, this is because we went old school. I mean, we watched the Arn and Tully and the Rock and Rolls and Midnights. I mean, that was what we watched, and so we just applied that to what we knew, and people were like, shit, this is tag team wrestling here, so that helped us out. It helped that WWE wasn't doing anything. So
When do they strap you the first time? When do you win the belts, and how does that feel? Because when you get the belts the first time, you go, here we fucking go now.
yeah, I think a lot of people remember their first time, but honestly, it was such a shock to me to win those belts the first time. It was more of, man, we're going to go down in the list of all these the Road Warriors and Rock and Roll Express, and that's what was really heavy about it. But it was the times after that. Once we felt it, it was like I want that again.
Right.
So then the second and third time were just as special to us because it was like now we know what it means and we know what it's like to carry
it's
that.
your job to carry the whole division. Absolutely, man.
So I got to ask this as a brother. So you see TNA climb, and you grew up here in Kentucky. You clearly watched WWE as a kid. Like, was there aspirations when you're in TNA thinking, they might call, I might take that contract, and I might go? Is that in your head all the time?
As I'm with TNA?
When you're with TNA?
Not at first, because I was my heart was just so in TNA.
Yeah.
But the only reason it wound up happening there towards the end is because my contract was coming up. And there was one time, maybe 3 years prior, on our other, when we re-signed another time, we knew there was interest for Storm and I. We decided to stay. And then when it was coming up this other time, I just kind of looked at what was going on. They had split us up, and they weren't doing anything with us. I mean, it was like...
Who was booking at that point? Is that Russo?
Russo was there, yeah. And I don't know who else was throwing input in, but I had a good run. I did a little something with Dustin. I did a little something with Christian, and then it just kind of went downhill, and it was just the timing. And I was like, if we're not doing anything, And not to mention what the contract they offered was a pay cut, and I was thinking, I've been
Yeah.
here all these years.
Yeah.
What, I mean, that's how you're going to do it. Which I understand happened to a lot of the guys. Like AJ went through that, and
Yes.
Bobby Roode went through that. To where they, all the time you put in, it's like, come on, we're giving you loyalty.
There's no
Give us,
reward, yeah.
give us a little bit here.
Yeah.
So it was just one of those. I really didn't know, but yeah, it was one. I just thought I had to give it a shot.
Yeah.
When you look back now, do you wish that you would have gone with Storm the first time? Do you think back like maybe we should have done this, maybe we should have gone in? No,
I'm glad we stayed because I really did enjoy what I was doing. And looking back, of course, it's easy to say, yeah, I wish I would have stayed. But
of course,
I'm glad we stayed with TNA, and I'm glad we got everything we could out of it. I just wish that we could have maybe communicated more, like me and Jeff, me and Vince, something like that, to where we could have worked something out to do that. But I thought, that I'm going to try this out for myself. Looking back, all I can say is, hey, at least I know for now. I know what it's like on the other side.
Well, they didn't give you a chance to be the Wildcat either, which that's disheartening.
I have a funny story though.
Okay, please.
I'd love to hear that.
So around this time, Wildcat it comes and does an independent show with Roger.
Yep.
With Roger, I come back from Los Angeles. I'm not a star yet.
But it's a big deal for him to be there.
Or am I a star yet?
I don't know. Let's delve into this.
So how big of
Are
a
you
superstar
a star
was
in
I?
Japan?
You've always been a star in your mind.
I don't know if I was a superstar yet. I think I might have been a Los Angeles independent guy, but coming
independent
home to Roger.
Okay.
So yes, I was not a star yet, and we wrestled that night, right? I remember this because you were telling me you drove me to Applebee's, and you were saying that you were there feeding you Dustin and this, and they were talking about your story. Here's the best part of the story, though.
Okay.
Oh, I was in the middle of this, right? And when you and I talked?
Me and you were talking, yeah. Well, we get in the ring. We win the match. We're a big, great tag team.
Okay.
I grab the microphone, and I'm saying,
Oh, I remember this, yeah. Oh, yeah, let's hear
how's
this.
everybody having a good time? Great. Well, after the night, come on down to Applebee's.
Oh, my God.
We're going
Invites the entire crowd.
We're going to Applebee's right off this exit.
Ruined the after
Put
party.
it down, and he's looking at me like,
What the fuck are
I'm
you
going,
doing?
"Oh, it's funny. Ha
No, it's not.
So we go there, we're sitting down, we start having a cold beer, we're having a nice brother talk. All of a sudden, these fans come up and one lady starts massaging me. She's an old woman.
Yep.
And she just massaged me, and her little kid hops on my lap. Other kids over here, and they talk to us and bothered us the whole time. And he goes, "You fucking ripped yourself, asshole."
You
I said,
sure
I bet you don't do that again, but I'm sure he has done it again.
I
but,
never did that again.
No, he's pretty. He likes his privacy these
Who
days.
announces-
I will say one thing, though. I bet he
announces where
didn't
to
pay
go?
for a beer that night.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the Wildcat took care of me on that one. I wasn't doing real well with money at that point either. I was fucking really broke. So you said, so I don't even care about the WWE stuff. I mean, like, do you want to talk about that at all? Do you care to?
I can make it quick. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
I mean, was it? So who called you when they brought you in?
I was talking with John Laurinaitis.
So Lauren, he was back in power again.
We know what it's like to go there and get fucked, so I'm talking to a couple guys who know.
I mean, at least you guys had a better run than I did. But no, I mean, they make it sound like it's going to be the greatest thing in the world. They're going to take care of you. And honestly, for the first couple months, they did make a big deal out of it. Everywhere that was going on, they made it like it was going to be big. But I had a long meeting with all the writers. I went to the office and had a long meeting with the writers. By the next TV, it was like it never happened.
Yeah.
I walked out of that meeting excited. It never happened. I showed them pictures of me with the jacket on, and which I thought was a cool look. They said, "Yeah, bring the jacket." I brought the jacket. They didn't want to see the jacket. I mean, it was just everything that was talked about was just the best way I can say it, it's $1 billion company that had no preparation whatsoever.
Because they should have. What they were hiring was the Wildcat Crusaders.
And then they changed his name to Braden Walker. I remember I was working there at the time. I was on the roster.
You were there?
Yes. And I remember him coming, and I was like, "Oh, that's fucking cool. That's actually a cool TNA grab that we got." And then
Thank you.
I saw him. I met him. I think I saw him at the gym again, and they hadn't done anything yet. And then when I saw him at TV, they put on a white singlet, and he came out, and his name was Braden Walker. And I went, "Why the fuck did they do that to him?" And that's kind of.
But the truth is, and you guys know this, like going in there, I almost knew that there was a good chance that Chris Harris was not going to be around. I knew that there was a chance they may change the name, may change the look. I had enough confidence in myself that I felt like whatever they do, I will make it work.
Right.
I tried to go in with that attitude, but it was just so flat. And here's if I can say a quick example: Ron Killings and I left TNA at the same time. We signed with WWE at the same time. I know he had a little history with them before. I think he was there for about a year.
He quit for like
yeah,
a year.
yeah.
Yep.
So maybe he was in a little bit better than I was, but just to as far as preparation for bringing you for your debut, they sent a camera crew to his house, did a bunch of vignettes with him growing up in the streets, and told a story to where you care about him when he comes out.
What he is. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And plus, not to mention, this is I give him all this credit, but because he is in the music, they let him use his own song.
Yeah.
There was just more to the package. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where he comes out, you care more. With me, generic song, generic name. No, I mean, who the hell is this guy? If you didn't watch TNA, you don't know who the hell I am. And then they just send me out there, and it's like, do what. And I couldn't even do my own wrestling. Yeah. Put me in the ring, and I can make it work.
Right.
They took away all my moves because it was too similar to this guy or that guy or this guy. Yeah. So I'm out there. I mean, one of my matches is embarrassing because I think I threw 10 clotheslines.
Yeah.
Because it was like I couldn't do my normal arsenal. You know, and it's so it was just all around, man. By the time I'd say 3 months into it, man, I was so fucking. Can I say that? I was so fucking miserable. Yeah. I mean, I had such anxiety. I was thrown up in my hotel room before I had to go. Yeah. I didn't want to be there, and I was like, if this is what my dreams were to come here, I want the fuck out of here, man. Yeah. And so when I got that call, Johnny called me, and he said, we're going to exercise our release, and I was like, okay, Johnny, and I appreciate it. I didn't argue. I didn't ask why, anything like that. And my girlfriend at the time, I was out on my deck when I took that call, and I came in to the house, and she said, that's the first time you've smiled in 6 months.
Yeah. There you go.
I was actually happy to get out of there.
It was a feeling of relief.
When you get that call, and it's finally over, then what's your next step from there? I don't even remember.
Well, that's the hard part about it, man, is that, I always felt like at some point I could get back in Impact, but I think they were so pissed off that I left.
Different times too, right?
Which sucks because, I mean, so many. I mean, let's take Jeff, for example. How many times did he float back and forth between WCW and WWE?
I mean, a legend for doing it.
I mean, so I thought, okay, if you want to, I don't know, punish me, if it's the right word, keep me off for a year or so, that's fine. Yeah. But, maybe, I mean, the story's there. Storm's still there. Yeah. We can do something. And I think 2011 is when it was. 2011, I came back and did like a week of shows with them.
So you all just kind of got the cold shoulder for that long?
Yeah, for a few years, yeah. And I was still hanging around, so I was still, because I was living in Florida. Yeah. So when they would film in Orlando, I had a good enough relationship that they were like, yeah, come on, you're welcome down, but no ideas, nothing like that. So
could have been a cool story with beer money and you popping back up there too.
And we did that. I came back. I teamed with Matt Hardy and wrestled Beer Money.
Yeah. That's the.
So I mean, the story was there. They just, and I know Vince was in charge because I was talking to him about it. He's like, I got this whole idea where Bobby gets hurt and you wind up filling in, but I'm the sneaky one. Like I'm manipulating them to where it's like, hey, I'll fill in for you, Bobby. Let me in. And Bobby's like, well, what the fuck? So I mean, it was there. It could have been really hot, but they just killed it, man. And so
that's what happens in this weird work to business.
It's really, it's so, I'm still thinking about him saying about the vignettes. It's so important if you get vignettes and you have a story, if you're like an unknown guy coming in, not an unknown guy, but to a new audience.
But I understood that. Like I knew TNA's audience was much lower than WWE, so I knew that there was a lot of people that did not know me. And I just, which is why I think we should have had them.
Yeah, that's what I think, man. Yeah, like I think because even my first little gimmick, the Jesse and Festus thing, like they knew who we were the first time we walked out to wrestle because they gave us, I think we're supposed to have 3 weeks, and Vince thought they were funny, so they kept going. I had like 10 weeks of vignettes in a row, where I'm not saying shit. But when we came out...
But at least they knew you when you came out.
They didn't like it, they knew what it was. They go, oh, it's the fucking big idiot and his friend, you know what I mean? Like,
I have another funny story.
Oh, God.
When Wildcat was in his TNA famous run, very famous.
Yes.
He'd come wrestle us, or he'd come help us in Wilmington, Ohio, where he used to always wrestle, right? Mm-hmm. Where I was a big star in Wilmington, Ohio.
Wilmington's famous.
In Fairfield.
Yes, in Fairfield, too. Right?
Very well known in Fairfield, Ohio.
One of the most popular guys there.
That's very true. Chris comes back to referee this match for us. Yeah. Okay, so we had a referee in the match. The referee gets knocked out. Chris's music hits. Big pop, because he was a big star in Wilmington, Ohio, too, right? He comes out.
A couple of big Wilmington, Ohio
he
stars.
Takes
the police force knew me.
And you're gonna love this, though. You're gonna love this. Hold on. This guy, the referee, was in the match.
Yes.
I told Chris before. I said, listen, he doesn't sell very well, so you're gonna have to really lay this one in there, right? So Chris goes out there and almost kills this guy. But you know who it is?
Who?
Winkleman.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
We love you, Winkleman.
That's right, you do know Winkleman.
I mean, I got to
tell me, he said this referee won't sell for you. I was like, the hell he won't. No.
That sounds funny, right? Now, like I said, Chris beat the hell out of me, right? In a very mentoring type.
I got a question about the story.
Are
you ribbing Winkleman?
Yes. I was ribbing him.
Of course.
But then I saw him almost die, and I went,
Well, that's a little meaner than I thought it would be.
but let me say this. How Chris beat the hell out of me, he hit this Winkleman, and I'm thinking, you got to look at Chris. He's an imposing figure.
He's 6'4".
He's 6'4". He's jacked to the gills, and he's hitting you with these club forearms to your back.
And I was known for that left-handed lariat too.
And that left-handed lariat goes right just above the nose.
Did you
This is
lariat
a big
Winkleman? Do you
bastard.
remember?
I remember, yeah.
And Winkleman's arm just goes.
The knockout cell. He's knocked out. Chris.
Yeah, what are you up to nowadays, babe? It's good to see you back around though. Like we saw you at Roger's show. Like you got so much knowledge for the business. These kids can learn so much from you.
Well,
That's good to have you around.
I took over a whole nother role with him, man, because and this is really good because it takes a lot of pressure off Roger. But I guess you call it the agent coach role. I go in, I'm at training every Tuesday and Thursday. They're there, so I'm there to help coach with them. I don't do a lot of the drills. Some of the other guys do that, but I'll critique their matches and tell them what's
great.
good,
That's
what's
what they
bad.
need, yeah.
And then when the shows on all the shows, whether it's a lot of times we have a Friday, Saturday. I'll go in there and I'll get the rundown from Roger. I'll get what he wants. I call him Vince. I get what he wants.
Do you enjoy doing
And
that?
I love it, man. I run it around like crazy. But the thing is, man, since I can't do it myself anymore. I lay it out for these guys. I help them put the finishes together, from start to finish. And sometimes I think to myself, well, it's common sense. They know it. Well, no, they don't.
Right.
So I really have to go through stuff. But then when I see the presentation in the ring and I see it go and I see the crowd reaction,
It's a reward.
it makes me feel just as good as if
Yeah.
I was out there doing it myself.
That's
So
cool.
I love that part of it. Yeah, man. So
That's very, very cool.
that's keeping me busy. I love it, man.
You got social media? You got anywhere people can follow you? Keep up with what Wildcat's doing? Where they
Yeah,
can
the
see
best
next?
way is my Twitter. It's at AMW Wildcat. Get on hold me on Twitter. I do Facebook as well. So
Book the Wildcat. Let's see him at some signings. Let's see him.
Yeah,
come out
I
and
do
see
a
some
lot of.
events.
I enjoy the conventions, man.
Yeah,
No bumps
they're
and
fun.
all signings.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I love doing
And
that.
making some cash, brother cash for the
Brother
boys.
Cash. Wildcat, thanks. It's been
You
great.
guys are awesome. I love
Appreciate it,
catching
man.
up with you guys
Yeah.
every chance we get.
Always
Appreciate
fun.
you, baby. It's good to see you. You look great. I'm glad you're back.
Awesome. Can't wait to see you guys get your ass kicked tonight.
That's coming.
Yeah, I'm going to lose. That's for fucking sure.